Heidi ho! Welcome back to the Happy Homestead. I'm Amanda. It is Thursday, February 8th. I've taken the last couple of days to just rest as needed, and I had some really quick, easy dinners, and it was glorious. It was amazing. I feel so much better today. I slept really well last night. I showered this morning. Just feel like a new woman. So we're going to amp up dinner tonight. We had our rest, we had our easy, quick dinners. We're gonna put a little bit more effort in for tonight. Y'all know how I like to experiment and do new things. We're gonna cook a duck. I've never in my life cooked a duck. I'm quite sure I've ordered and eaten duck in a restaurant at some point, but I can't recollect when that was. So I can't say I've never had duck. I just don't remember it. I do know that duck is mostly dark meat, right? If you're comparing chicken and duck, and for the longest time with chicken, like, you know, I don't know about you, but the way I grew up, it was like always the white meat, right? The chicken breast, that was the healthiest part. And that's all I ever really knew how to cook. That's all I ever knew what to eat. And it wasn't until probably the last 5 to 10, well, not even 10, probably 5 years of my life-ish, really getting more into home cooking and roasting a whole chicken, that I realized the dark meat is where it's at, y'all. You have got to trust me on this if you have not experienced that amazing joy. The dark meat is where it's at. Duck, from what I've heard, is comparable to the dark meat on a chicken. It's dark meat. It's juicy, it's moist. I hate that word, but I'm gonna say it, and it's supposed to be delicious. So we're going to roast a whole duck today, and I have some leftover butternut. This was in the refrigerator, and I believe this is from something that I made last week, and so this needs to be used. What I'm gonna do is put this in the Instant Pot, and I'm going to, I guess, steam it, cook it, right, to soften it up so I can mash it and make it mashed butternut. And I'm gonna use that to make a butternut squash risotto to go with our whole roasted duck. Sounds so fancy. Trust me. I ain't fancy. I'm gonna make this really simple so that you can do it too. All right, so I put a little bit of water in my Instant Pot. I'm just gonna put my butternut in. Now I've already peeled it. Still smells okay. And I'm just gonna put this in like this. I'm actually gonna cut this bigger one up just so it all semi-cooks around the same time. So you can see it's just kind of sitting in the Instant Pot. I do have the rack in here so that the butternut is sitting in the water. And I'm gonna go to 20 minutes high pressure. 20 minutes high pressure. I took the keep warm off. I'm just gonna let it naturally release so that it's done, and then when I'm ready to mash it up to make the risotto, we'll do so. All right, I'm now going to preheat my oven to 425 degrees. I've looked at a couple of different duck recipes online, and guys, I'm gonna cook this just about the exact way I cook my roasted chicken, which is in a Dutch oven. I am gonna score the top. I have seen that you wanna score the breast where a lot of the good fat is, not scoring through the meat, just through the fat. And then we're gonna season it and put it in the Dutch oven. But with a duck, you want to roast it from anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes at 425. And then you can lower the temperature down to about 375, 350, and it will cook for a lot longer at that temperature. But you want to get that high temp first. So I'm going to start opening the duck. I don't know what to expect when I open. I don't know if there's giblets in here or not. I purchased 2 of these ducks, so I still have one left in the freezer. I got these, what I was going to say is I purchased these from Azure Standard. So if you're wondering where you can, get good quality duck, that is where I went. And if you can see, it's the Mary's brand. They do the chicken with Azure too, and it's just a fantastic brand. It's good quality. And this is organic duck, which again, I don't even know if I'd be able to find that locally. All right, so I'm also supposed to, oh, there's the neck. Oh yeah, and there is giblets. There's the neck. We're gonna put the neck in the roasting pan also. And now we're gonna rinse the duck off. Okay. So I guess this is the breast side up. I don't actually know, y'all. No, this is the breast side. You just want to do like an X pattern is what I'm reading through the fat. A lot of the recipes I was finding online talked about duck à l'orange. Am I saying that right? Orange duck. I just didn't want to do that. Really just wanted simple roasted duck. Okay. I'm really hoping I did that right, and that's the breast. I think it is. I also read that I can kind of cut where the leg and the body come together, just to help that meat in there cook a little bit more evenly as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Yeah. All right, now it's time to spice up or season up our duck. I pulled a lot out here, but rather than kind of just pouring one at a time, I'm gonna mix it all up in a bowl and then spread it on. Redmond real salt. I think I got about maybe a teaspoon, a little more than a teaspoon of the pepper, and about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a quarter of the Redmond real salt. This is my freeze-dried leek powder. I'm using this because it has fantastic flavor and because I just really need to use this up. It's kind of sticking here at the bottom because there's a little moisture in there. That's why I'm trying to use it whenever I can. This is smoked paprika powder, dried thyme, onion granules, and garlic powder. Okay, I'm not gonna stuff the cavity. I don't usually do that with my chicken either. You can, but it may impact the cooking time just a little bit depending upon what you're stuffing it with. I think this looks fantastic. And once the oven's preheated, we'll get this in. All right, the oven is preheated. So we're gonna put the lid on, and remember, I'm gonna go for 20 minutes at 425, and then we're going to lower the temperature to 375 and cook it for about another hour and 15 minutes. Our butternut is done. Just gonna try to pull it out without getting too much of the water. Just gonna mash this up. It's pretty soft. It's definitely cooked through. And I don't even know that I'm gonna need all of this for the butternut squash risotto. But whatever we don't need, we'll just serve on the side with maybe some butter and cinnamon for dinner. All right, the timer just went off for the duck. I had it at 425 for 25 minutes. And then I actually lowered it to 350 and put it in for an hour and 15 minutes. Let's see. I am so excited to see this. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Oh my, you should, I wish you could smell this. Oh my word, that looks amazing. And I'm totally going to do bone broth with this when we're done eating. Okay, I'm gonna put the lid back on, turn my oven off, and just set this in the back. I just roasted a duck. It's the little things that I suppose just can get you so excited as you get older, because I've never done that before, and that looks so good. Now we're gonna make the risotto. I am so excited to eat dinner tonight. All right, so with risotto, and I have made risotto here on the channel before. It always, well, I shouldn't say it always, for me, in my previous years of cooking, it always felt a little daunting. And all I can say is whatever that thing is for you, whatever that daunting thing is it roasting a chicken? Is it making risotto? Is it, you know, whatever, lasagna, you pick it. Pick the thing that you don't feel as confident with and just do it. Read recipes, do it repetitively, and read many recipes and kind of compare the processes, right? And how they're doing it. I always try to look at things very methodically and logically. You know, why they're doing this, why they're doing that. And then it helps you kind of retain it better. It just helps you understand it so that when you're doing it, you have a better idea of what works and what doesn't. But all I say is do it. The more you do something, the better you're gonna get at it. You're gonna learn from mistakes and you're going to get good. Risotto is one of those things for me. I feel like I can make a really good risotto right now without having to look at a recipe or directions too much. So we are going to start with melting about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of butter. We're going to saute some onions. I've got an onion I need to dice up. And then we're gonna put in a cup and a half of arborio rice. And so risotto, you don't want to just use jasmine or basmati, you know, long grain, short grain. You got to use arborio. It's a particular type of grain, A-R-B-O-R-I-O. I think it's an Italian variety. And it's a white rice. It's kind of a plumper, thicker grain. And you're toasting it in the butter in the pan, and then we're gonna start to add our bone broth, and it soaks it up and creates the most amazingly gorgeous creamy texture. So we're gonna start with getting our butter done, our onion, and then put our rice in. We're just softening the onions. We are not looking to caramelize them. We're just softening them in the butter, and then we're gonna add our rice. And the purpose when you add your rice to the butter in the pan with the risotto is it actually helps to toast the rice, and it just gives it a much more kind of a nuttier flavor. A lot of people think with risotto, because it's properly made risotto is kind of a creamy dish. It has that beautiful creamy texture. They think that there's milk or cream in it. I did, and for the longest time, I'd never understood how it got to that beautiful texture without milk or cream, and sometimes without even cheese. But it's all in the rice. It's the arborio rice that does it, soaking up your liquids. So I am going to be using a pint of home canned chicken bone broth. This is from October of last year, not that long ago. But we're going to slowly be adding in our liquid. You may find recipes that call for 4 or 5 cups of liquid. I'm going down to 2 cups because I know my butternut risotto has some moisture in it, and I just don't want to overload my risotto. But we're going to be slowly adding our liquid. until the rice absorbs it, and then we add more. All right, time to toast. Adding a hot cup and a half. The other trick with risotto is that you do not want to walk away. You are staying at the stovetop. It doesn't take more than maybe 10 or 15 minutes to make it properly and delicious, but you don't want to walk away. You really want to use a stainless steel pan, or I'm using a copper pan that's lined with tin, but you don't want to use any kind of pan that has like a Teflon or non-stick coating. It's just for so many reasons. All right, the butter is absolutely soaked up here. I'm gonna start adding the stock. And if I find that I need more, then I'll open another pint, but we're gonna start with our 1 pint. So we're just gonna stir it occasionally, and you'll start noticing that the rice is gonna start soaking up that bone broth. This is an excellent time to start seasoning. So I'm gonna start adding in some pepper. Redmond real salt. And then I've got some dried sage here. I think sage is just so underutilized. It's so delicious. And it pairs really well with risotto and butternut squash. So you can see the liquid is already soaked up. I'm gonna alternate my broth with the butternut. So I'm gonna start adding some of the butternut in, maybe about a cup's worth. I've got this on kind of a medium-low heat. It's on number 4 on my oven or my burner here. Because again, I don't want anything to burn. I don't want anything to crisp up. But constant stirring to make sure all of the rice granules are getting coated and soaking up all the liquid that surrounds them is also very key. So it's why I say you don't want to walk away. You want to just keep stirring. And sometimes people add just a splash of white wine to their risotto as well. That can give it really good flavor, but it's not mandatory. It's totally optional. We're gonna add the last of that second pint. So we did do 4 cups total. So we did a cup and a half of the arborio with half of a diced onion, or half of an onion diced, and 4 cups of the bone broth, salt, pepper, dried sage, and I had probably about a cup and a half of the butternut. I'm gonna start grating in some Parmesan. You can absolutely skip the whole butternut process within your risotto and just do a plain risotto with salt, pepper, and Parmesan cheese, maybe a little white wine. That's kind of the classic risotto and it's delicious. This is all of the Parmesan cheese I have left. Can you see that? It's so little. Well, it's not all, it's all I have left of what I made either a year and a half or 2 years ago. This is aged pretty well. And I have another 2-pound parm that I'm gonna be opening once this is done. So every year, on my birthday or around my birthday. This is the 3rd year in a row I think I'm doing it. I make a Parmesan cheese with 2 gallons of milk, just a 2-pound Parmesan. And that way it ages for a year. And so every year I make one, and every year I open the previous year's Parmesan. And so we always have kind of like a 12 to 18 month aged Parmesan in the house. So this one is almost done, and then I'm gonna open the next one and make another one very soon. Bon appetit!